Haha, what's up, everybody? Joe Rogan is talking about Twitter possibly going bye-bye like Blockbuster video. He's saying basically that why is it that people worry so much what other people think? Or they'll go back in someone's Twitter timeline and go, oh, Joey Diaz, you said in 2012 this, or you said in 2016 that. Like, they go back at Kevin Hart, you said this, and Kevin Hart's like, yeah, I said like 8 years ago. I'm not exactly sure what Kevin Hart said at the time. And then they said Joey Diaz said some crazy shit. And I'm like, he always talks crazy shit. And why would somebody go through like hundreds of times? Yes, I have a Twitter since 2009. There's probably some crazy shit I've said on there. What if someone's going to go scroll through hundreds and hundreds of texts or tweets and go, remember in 2011 you said this about this person? I'm like, I don't remember that. That's just like a text message. I don't remember it.
The Joe Rogan experience.
You're not better than other people because you think a certain way. There's so many people that are like, I'm right, obviously, and you're wrong, obviously. And it's like, that's not how things work.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And with all the canceling, all the Twitter stuff, they're going like down this line of which now we've given them with Twitter.
Right.
You're just giving people a transcript of like all the shit you've said over the years. But it's like you're expected to have this perfect record. Like you're never supposed. We're flawed humans.
test.
That's
Yeah.
how we learn. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. It's through adversity. We learn. We fuck up. We fail. We get back up. And there's no room for that anymore.
But it's also, here's the thing, like, why are you spending so much time complaining about other people all day? I'll tell you why. Because you're not healthy.
That's right.
Like,
That's
you're not
right.
doing smart things. If I look at your Twitter timeline and I'm seeing tweets 12 hours a day, you're a crazy
addicted,
person.
Right.
Yeah.
You might not realize you're a crazy
Do
person.
you think
but
there'll be a day where we will look back and go, remember when anyone could get on Twitter at
Yes.
any time? You think there's going to be like
No.
smoking? There's going to be
No.
like restrictions?
I think Twitter is going to be like Blockbuster video. I think we're going to
Yeah.
look back. Remember when we used to communicate through Twitter? Like, oh my God, it was so toxic. Everybody was so mean. We're going to hit some new thing next that's going to allow people to read each other's minds, or Elon
Right.
Musk's Neuralink, which he's talking about,
Yeah.
communicating with no words. We're going to hit that, and it's going to make this seem like nonsense.
Yeah.
Because what we're lacking in, this is one of the things that in that book, Irresistible, there's no.
But he's totally right. Or the girl's right, too, that we're giving people a timeline. So people can go, let's say for an example, I'll pull up my phone for an example. And let's just go to, let's just say, let me find a text message thread. Okay, like this. You're going to be able to go through someone's text message thread like this and just go, oh, look at all those messages. Look at all those messages that you've been posting on Twitter. Oh, that one was from January 5th, 2016. You called a girl a fat ass. And then you're going to get hated for it. So that's the dumb shit about Twitter, and that's the thing that Joe Rogan is saying. That eventually it will go away, and that Neuralink thing that he's talking about with Elon Musk, you ain't putting no chips in my head. You ain't having me communicate like virtually. You ain't having me do that. Hell to the no. You ain't putting my head with some microchip in it so I could just basically virtually say something and the girl next door hears about it or she reads it in her mind. Hell to the no. I think, like I said, the problem with these social media websites is people will go back in someone's timeline and look at all the dirty shit they said. Oh, I'm blasting this motherfudger. I'm blasting that piece of shit because they say something. And it's like, really, dude? Really? You said whatever you said, right? But it's like, yeah, that was 10 years ago. People change. And then people get mad. Well, did you hear what Joe Rogan said? He called a girl a bitch. Yeah, that was 12 years ago, stupid. He probably doesn't even remember ever saying that. But because it's podcast, because he's on Twitter, now they can go back to like a podcast in like 2010 and go, yeah, Joey Diaz said he took a girl backstage and had sex. You're a dirty bitch. And they'll go, what? And they get mad about it. He goes, well, it was 12 years ago. I don't even remember ever talking about it.
empathy
Right.
in these conversations, and that's the big part of the problem. It's like you don't see the people, you don't
That's
feel their
right.
pain, so you can say horrible shit to them. It's the vast majority of the way people are communicating. Like for a lot of people,
Right.
it's the
Yeah.
vast majority of their communication is text messages
Right.
and tweets, and none of it is person to person. Like
Well-
these kids.
See. That's why I always say the text messaging thing ruins society. The text messages can be taken out of context incorrectly. You could say in a text message something like, you could say like, that white guy is a hellbilly, and you say it in a text message. You're trying to be funny, and then that person who reads it gets offended because you said something. Like today at work, just a straight conversation, and I was talking to a dude, and he had a camouflage hat on, some like tight jeans, and some like work boots, and they're kind of the work boots that stereotypically you consider somebody kind of like a redneck. I'm not saying redneck in like the sense of they're racist. I'm saying a redneck is in kind of like their country. They're a country kind of cowboy, kind of in the country music. And I said, you like country music and you drive a Ford F-150? And he goes, how'd you know that? I was like, well, dog, you have that kind of clothes that gives off like that cowboy kind of country music kind of guy. And he goes, how'd you know that though? I was like, it's just the appearance. And he goes, yeah, you're all right. And I was like, you probably live in this town, right? And he goes, how'd you know? I was like, dude, I just know the stereotypical kind of appearance. Like if I seen a person with baggy pants, a baggy sweatshirt, and maybe they're sagging their pants, and I walked up to him and said, hey, you listen to Lil Wayne and you like rap music, they might more likely say, yeah, I listen to rap music, because their appearance gives off the fact that they like what they like. You might see a guy with long hair and tie-dye clothes and assume that guy's a hippie. It's just what it is. But in a text message thread, you can say something that someone takes incorrectly and they'll never talk to you again. Because text messages is the rule of all evil. I hate it because you sit there all day on your phone and go like this, and you're really not hearing the person joking. And the reason I hate text messages is no one's elaborating on the text message. You go, how's your day? And they'll go, it was good. And you go, oh, so what'd you do today? And you go, I went to work. But they're not elaborating. In person, you go, well, today was pretty good. I went to work and went by pretty fast. My job where I work, it was super busy. So from start to finish, it was nonstop busyness. And by the time I looked at my clock, it was already 1 o'clock. And I was like, damn, I clock out at 1:30. Where's the time fly? But in a text message, you're not going to go to that great length of doing that.
Person, like
Well-
these kids are arguing with each other through text because they don't want to look at each other and talk like human beings. But that's
Ironically-
the only way you develop messages
Right.
and tweets, and none of it is person to person. Like
Well-
these kids are arguing with each other through text because they don't want to look at each other and talk like human beings. But that's
Ironically-
the only way you develop and grow as
Yeah.
a person.
And he is totally 150% correct. If you're not having that face-to-face conversation, you know how many antisocial people are out there because they're not face-to-face conversating? And you know how many people are like, I don't like talking on the phone, I have a phonophobia. It's like, no, you don't. Just get on the phone and talk. And then you see the same people with the phonophobia, or whatever they call it, they'll talk to their parents, or they'll talk to certain people on the phone, but most of the people, they don't talk on the phone because they're scared to talk on the phone. And it's like, okay, it's so easy to text message somebody and say, hey, baby, I think you're cute. But it's so much harder in person to walk up to that girl and say, hey, baby, I think you're cute. It's so much harder. It's so easy because behind the computer of the computer, when people bash people on their YouTube videos, call them like a fat ass, or they call them, your videos suck, it's easier for them to say that than to say it in person, because if they said your videos suck in person, the guy's going to have the reaction of, I'm going to kick your ass or I'm going to beat you up, right? But in a text message or a tweet, you can sit behind your computer or your cell phone and go, Joe Rogan's an asshole. And Joe Rogan can't physically come kick me or do nothing. He could write me back and go, why am I an asshole? Let me know. And you could just be like, because your shit sucks. And that's it. But in person, I would never say that to him, because if I said something that was offensive, he could probably kick my head off, because the dude's a black belt and he could probably knock me the hell out. But at the end of the day, Joe Rogan is right. Twitter is toxic. Social media is toxic. We need to have face-to-face conversation. That's why Joey Diaz, the comedian, always says, I like to talk face-to-face. I like to talk face-to-face. I don't like to have these bullshit conversations through text messages. He says, if you're going to not call me on the phone, don't even bother, because I'm not going to text you back.
This is one of the things that in that book, Irresistible, there's no empathy in these conversations, and that's the big part of the problem. It's like you don't see the people, you don't feel their pain, so you can say horrible shit to them. It's the vast majority of the way people are communicating, like for a lot of people. It's the vast majority of their communication is text messages and tweets, and none of it is person to person. Like these kids are arguing with each other through text because they don't want to look at each other and talk like human beings.
Ironically,
but that's the only way you develop and grow as a person.
So with that being said, guys, that is my little Raw Talk podcast. And I just wanted to show this clip because it's exactly how I feel. I don't like just sitting there and blasting out text messages, because sometimes you might have something really serious to say to somebody and you say, I'm feeling depressed, and then the other person says, well, why? And then you write a message of why you're depressed or you feel down, and they don't reply back. That's what happened today. I wrote a friend of mine, and I said, I've been feeling down a little bit lately because I've been working so much and I haven't had the opportunity to really go out and do anything besides just work. And I've been working like 50 hours a week. And there you go. And I wrote a whole message of why I felt bad. I didn't get a reply back. Is it the person didn't care? The person seen the message and go, damn, that's a lot. I'm not going to read that. Or they just got busy with their life and they just like, I'll text this person back whenever I get the opportunity to. So for me, there's a lot of times where people blast me with text messages. I don't reply because I either have my phone in a different room, I'm doing something else, or I just look at the message and go, I don't feel engaging in that conversation. It's just like, how are you? I don't want to write somebody, how are you? I'm good, you're good, okay, cool, thanks for watching. I don't want to be like that. So, but yeah, he is right that Twitter will eventually go away and then something else will come along. But if it's that Neuralink type of thing that he was talking about, I'm not going to be a part of that. You ain't putting no microchips in me. Hell no.